Let's start. Let's talk about the basics of research. Okay? Okay, let's start. We have here stages of research process. Ito yung kailangan yung pagdaanan for you to complete your study. So, syempre, the first step is selecting the problem and at the same time formulating the research title. That's what we are going to do with your concept paper. We are selecting the problem that we want to address, and at the same time, we are trying to formulate your research title. Okay? Now, how do we do that? How do we formulate the research title? Plus, take note that the research title should not be long and should not be more than 20 words. Actually, the ideal is not more than 15 words. But do not include in the counting the function words. And by the function words, I am referring to a, an, of, with, and the likes. Okay? Hindi siya kasali sa counting. So we are just counting the major words in your title, and take note that the ideal one should not be more than 15 words. And at the same time, your title should also include both variables, the independent and the dependent variables. If you can still remember your lessons or research in your high school days, when you say independent variables, this is also called the predictor variable, or the variables that we are actually manipulating in the study. We are controlling them. Okay? Pag dependent variable naman, that is our outcome variable. Meaning, if we are going to control the independent variable, it will result to a certain outcome. Meaning, we are going to measure that outcome, and that will be called now the dependent variable. So again, both variables should be included in your title. I hope that is clear. I'll give you an example later of a research title, and we are going to assess whether the length is okay and if the variables are also included. And at the same time, it should give insight virtually on what the research is all about. Meaning, if the readers are going to read the titles of your studies, then automatically they will know na what your research is all about. Okay? Sa title pa lang, dapat alam na kung ano yung content ng research nyo, gaano man kakapal ito. And then, the following words or phrases should not be included in the research title. Example, a study of, an analysis of, or an investigation of, because all research is a study, and the research class is an analysis or an investigation of something. So it's automatic. No need to place this in the title. Okay? And it is actually not important to include the date where you are going to do your research. And at the same time, it's not necessary that you're going to place the location of your study or the research local in your title, because we have this section called scope and delimitation wherein we can place these informations. Okay, so please take note of that. So let's have an example. The predictive efficacy of academic preparation of radiologic technologists on the licensure board exam. Ito yung title na research. Okay, so first let us evaluate if the length is okay. So let us count. Again, do not include the function words. So let's just count this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So all in all, we have 9 words here. This is less than 15. So this is an ideal title. Okay, hindi natin isasali yung function words. Let us just count the major words in the title. Now let's see if independent variable and dependent variable is or are included here, when you say independent variable, that is what we are controlling in the study, we manipulate them, or ito yung predictor variable. Okay, nagpe-predict ng outcome. So if we are going to look at the title, our independent variable here is the academic preparation. Kasi siya yung magpe-predict, pwedeng mag-predict ng result ng licensure board exam. So kung nakikita ninyo, this is check, independent variable is included in the title. It's the academic preparation. That's our predictor variable. Of what? What we are going to predict? The outcome. And that is the licensure board exam. Therefore, since this is the outcome, we call this the dependent variable. Okay? That's how we identify both variables. So this one is an ideal title. Just by reading the title, we can now see a picture of what the research is all about. So gusto lang nilang malaman yung academic preparation na ginagawa ng mga RadTech and kung ano ba yung result ng board exam. And this title does not include words na sinabi ko kanina, like yung mga a study of, an investigation of, or an analysis of. Diretso tayo kasi lahat ng research or studies also. And at the same time, hindi na nila in-include yung date and yung location ng kanilang research kasi again, we have the so-called scope and delimitation. So let us have another example, yung study na lang na present ko sa inyo kanina. We have here medical fake news and fear-mongering during the COVID-19 pandemic, the impact on the vaccine confidence among the millennials. So let us try to count. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So we have 12 words here. Still not more than 15 words. So this is still plus an ideal title. Okay, if you're going to write your title in the title page, if it is more than one line, you have to arrange them in an inverted pyramid. So just like this. In-arrange nila sa isang inverted pyramid. Okay, now how about the IV and the DV? IV, independent variable, and the DV, dependent variable. Sige, kayo nga yung mag-identify alin dyan ang independent variable and alin ang independent and dependent variable. Sige, una, ano yung independent variable? Look just by looking at their title. What is the predictor variable? Let's see if nakuha niyo yon. Okay, sige, the predictor variable, that is correct. Medical fake news and fear-mongering. Yan yung predictor variable. Ng ano? So ano yung ating dependent variable? Vaccine confidence. Very good. So kung meron bang epekto itong medical fake news and fear-mongering sa vaccine confidence ng mga millennials. So yan yung study nila. Okay, I hope class you can easily identify na the independent and dependent variable. Huwag natin pahirapan yung ating sarili. Kasi yun yung problema mostly ng mga students when they first encounter research. Nahihirapan mag-identify ano yung independent variable and dependent variable. Kaya siya tinawag na independent variable because it can stand with itself. For example, medical fake news and fear-mongering. Ayan, ikita natin dyan sa social media, nagsa-circulate sila. Ang tanong, naniniwala ba sila dyan? So kung naniniwala sila, meron tayong dependent variable. ano yung magiging outcome if naniniwala sila sa medical fake news and fear-mongering. The outcome, that's the dependent variable. The result of the dependent variable, dependent siya doon sa independent variable. Kaya kapag ka nagsusulat kayo ng conceptual framework, kasi di ba meron tayong tinatawag na conceptual framework sa research, di ba nilalagay natin siya sa box and meron tayong arrow. Kaya nga siya may arrow dyan, it's pointing towards the dependent variable. So this is independent variable. Lalagay nyo dito medical fake news and fear mongering. And then dito, vaccine confidence. So actually, ang mineasure nila is level. So level of vaccine confidence among the millennials. So that's how you make the conceptual framework. Though hindi pa ako nagdi-discuss niyan. Siyempre, first day natin. Pero magdi-discuss pa rin ako. How are you going to make your conceptual framework? But the conceptual framework looks like that. It will always include the independent and the dependent variables. Okay? Questions? Kaya nang mag-identify ng ID and DV, ha? If you have questions, you can always send your questions to chat box, or you may raise your hand and unmute your microphone. Okay? Sige. So ito nasabi ko na kanina. If you have more than one line for your title, it should be bold, and at the same time, it should be written in an inverted pyramid. Okay? Now, research documentation. We have two general types on how we are going to document our research. First, we can use the APA format. APA means American Psychological Association. Aside from, it is a psychology association class group of psychologists. They also specialize in helping us with our research. So sila yung gumagawa ng format. And then we also have the MLA, or the Modern Language Association. But in our institution, in our school, we are using the APA format. Okay? The American Psychological Association na format. Now, kanina sabi ko, your research will start with research pa rin, especially the background of the study. So if you're going to conduct research class, I hope you can do this. You make a working bibliography. Working bibliography pa lang siya kasi hindi pa naman kayo tapos with your paper. So, anong kailangan niya sa working bibliography? Ano ito? It is class a list of your references. Whether it's coming from a book or online source, basta you list them down. Okay? So that you will have a record of all your sources na na-examine mo na or hindi mo pa na-examine but you're going to examine them. Kung talaga bang related siya sa topic ninyo. And at the same time, you can keep track of the references. Like, nagsulat ka na and then parang gusto mo siyang dagdagan, so babalikan mo yung reference mo. So mas madali mo siyang babalikan kung meron kang working bibliography. Especially for online sources, since you can easily keep track with the website or the URL. So if you're going to make your working bibliography, these are the contents. We have syempre the title. You really have to record the title of your source. And syempre the author or the authors if meron, kasi there are references na walang author. And then we have the dates. Anong dates yan ang kailangan nyo i-take note? The date of publication, especially for printed materials. And actually sa mga online sources, meron din naman sa website nila ng date of publication. And date of retrieval. So kailan mo siya nabasa, kailan mo siya ni-retrieve. Kasi there are like sources, online sources, na biglang nawawala yung website nila. So we have to keep track what date did you retrieve that source. And then for printed materials, we have the page numbers. Okay? And for online sources, you also have to take note of the URLs. Okay? Now, let's talk about parenthetical citation. You can see this sa mga researches kasi hindi talaga nawawala itong parenthetical citations na ito. Okay, ano ito? From the word itself, parenthetical. We are giving citations to the authors of our references. And we are going to use the open and close parentheses. Okay? And saan natin ito ilalagay? Within the text of our research paper. Iba ito sa tinatawag na bibliography or list of references. Kasi si parenthetical citation nasa body ng ating paper. Lahat ng paragraph nilalagyan natin ng parenthetical citation. But this will direct our audience to our reader to our bibliography. Kasi lahat ng nasa parenthetical citation should be placed also in the bibliography. And ano yung kailangan natin for parenthetical citation? Take note, class. Kailangan lang natin yung last name ng author and the year of the publication. Yan yung ilalagay natin inside the open and close parentheses. And saan natin ilalagay? Sa text, diba? Pero it should appear at the end of the sentence between the last word and the period. You have to be very careful with the format. Kasi minsan nakakalimutan nila, may mga nababasa akong studies na the parenthetical citation are located after the period. No, it should be between the last word of the sentence and the period. Okay, so let's try to have some examples. Example, citing a significant paraphrased idea. Okay, nagbasa kayo. You want to include the other person's idea in your paper. But you should not copy paste it, ha? Kasi that is still called plagiarism. So please do not copy paste. Please always do paraphrasing. But even though you are going to paraphrase, you still have to give credit where credit is due. So you really have to cite the author. So this is how we do it. So for example, this is the sentence. This is the idea coming from the authors. So pinaraphrase siya. And then after that, you have to cite. What do you need? You need the last name of the author or authors if marami. So just like this one, dalawang author. So Pollitt and Beck, comma, and the year of the publication. They are enclosed in a parenthesis, and this one is placed between the last word, we have here the problems, and the period. That's how you do a parenthetical citation. Okay? You can even do that even not in your research subject alone, but to other subjects na nagre-require ng mga writings and scientific writings, and yung sa mga English nyo na subjects, if you are asked to paraphrase, you can do the parenthetical citation. And this will always be the format. Okay? Surname and year of publication. Okay? Now, when the author is cited in the text, we only need the year of the publication inside the open and close parentheses. What do I mean by author is cited in the text? Example, if you write it like this, Pollitt says or Pollitt stated, or ito, Pollitt asserted that nursing research, etc. Meaning, yung author class, sinali mo doon sa sinulat mo na sentence or paragraph na sinabi ng author ganito. So, hindi mo na siya ilalagay in an open and close parenthesis at the end of the sentence or at the end of the paragraph. But the parenthetical citation will be beside the surname of the author, pero ang nakalagay na lang inside is the year of publication. Okay? So I hope, class, it's clear, ha? Na pag nakalagay ang surname ng author, year na lang ng publication, and itabi mo siya doon sa surname ng author. Okay? Now, citing a quotation without the author's name in the text, actually, this is the same thing. Ganito pa rin yun. Naka-paraphrase ito, the surname of the author, and the year of the publication. Pero meron tayong pwedeng idagdag in case of printed materials. Printed ha, hindi sa online. Printed talaga, book or like journals, printed journals. Then we have the page number. So ito hindi nakasali ang name or ang surname ni author doon sa paragraph. So kailangan mo talagang mag-cite, including the surname of the author sa last sentence. Okay, last part of the sentence. Ay, ano nangyari? Ano nangyari? Wait. Ayan. Tapos na ito. Next, citing 2 or more authors. Pag magsa-cite kayo class, example, 1 to 3 authors or 2 or 3 authors, ilagay nyo talaga lahat ng surname nila. Example, Gabilagon, and then another surname, Gabilagon and another surname, and year of publication. Kung tatlo, ilagay nyo talaga lahat ng apelyido before ang comma and ang year of publication. Now, when are we going to use et al? Et al means and others. Kasi makikita niyo ito minsan sa mga references ninyo. Gagamitin natin si et al if we have 4 or more authors. Masyadong marami na sila. Kagaya sa inyo, 5 kayo per group. Pag natapos niyo na yung paper ninyo and other students will use your idea, isa-cite nila kayo. So that will become et al. So kaninong apelyido yung lalabas? It will be the surname of the principal author. So sino ba yung principal investigator dyan? Pinakamaraming ambag sa research, that will be the principal author, the main author of the paper. And then yung ibang authors dyan will just be replaced with et al. So kagaya nito, but this one is an in-text citation, meaning the surname of the author is included in the text. So we only place the year of publication inside the open and close parentheses. So itong marami itong authors, kaya siya naging Celtis et al. 1981. Okay, pero pwede din naman siyang baliktad. So for example, kunin natin yan, i-replace natin ng it. It is emphasized, no, not it. Kasi wrong na. Example. They emphasized the importance of a theory if one has to draw up a theoretical framework. So kung ganito, baliktarin natin siya. Dito natin ilalagay yung ating parenthetical citation. Tanggalin natin yung period dyan and magiging Celtis et al. 1981 before the period. So either of the two, you can do that. In-text citation or parenthetical citation. Ito yung tinatawag natin na parenthetical citation if nasa huli siya ng sentence, and ito ang tinatawag natin na in-text citation. Kasi nasa text yung surname ni author. By the way, since you are going to do your concept paper, yung ating accepted reference is 10 years backward only. What do I mean by that? Anong year tayo ngayon? 2012? So minus 10. 2022 minus 10, 2012. So your references should be from 2012 to 2022 only. Okay, wala akong makita ha na 1981. This is considered an obsolete reference. So remember, science, naniniwala tayo that change is constant. So kaya yung latest lang na references yung tatanggapin natin for research. Again, between 2012 to 2022. Okay, questions so far? Ask lang kayo ng question kapag meron kayong hindi naintindihan dito. Now, citing authors with the same surname. Paano kung 2 authors, 3 authors, pare-parehas yung apelyido nila kasi for example, magkapatid sila. That's the time you include the initials. Okay, like this one, LP Calmarine and MA Calmarine. The rest, pareha lang, except the addition of the initials. Okay, again, this is true if we have the same surname. And then citing the work without author. Ito madalas mangyari. Minsan nagtatanong ang student, ma'am, wala may author. Nagbasa sila reference, for example, online, walay author. Ano ang gagawin with the parenthetical citation? You have to identify the title of the book, okay, and then i-underline yan siya later sa parenthetical citation, and ang title of the article will be placed inside the quotation mark. So it looks like this. So ganito yung mangyayari sa inyo kapag walang author yung inyong reference. Itong naka-underline na nauna inside the open and close parenthesis is the title of the book. If it is a journal, it should be the title of the journal. If it is coming from an online source, it's the title of the website. Okay, and then comma. And then itong nasa loob ng quotation mark is the title of the article. Kasi iba yung pangalan, example sa website, iba yung pangalan ng website sa title ng kanyang article. So yan yung ilalagay dito sa quotation mark. Okay? And then citing the corporate author. Now, we have class like websites and other printed materials that the authors are not really named, but the material is owned by a certain organization or agency, whether it is a private agency or a public or government agency. So ano yung gagamitin natin? It should be the name of the agency or the organization. So for example, this one, the vision and mission of the school is coming from the student handbook. And when you read the student handbook, hindi nakalagay dyan sino ang sumulat ng student handbook. But it is property of the GST-MSFI. So in the parenthetical citation, you use GST-MSFI as the author. That is also true for government agencies. Like you look at the website of the Department of Health, walang author na nakalagay, so you write BOH 2022. Ganon. Okay? So I hope that is clear. And lastly, citing secondary sources. Ito yung meron kayong reference, for example, a research study. Tapos, yung research study na yan, nag-cite lang din siya ng another research. So, ngayon, ang mangyayari dyan, magiging secondary source na siya. If you're going to have the parenthetical citation, you have to name both primary and secondary sources. Just like this is the primary source, 1989. As cited, meaning ito yung currently tinitingnan mo na study. So, cited siya. Ito ang original, cited in the study of this one. Ganun pa rin. You need the surname and the year of publication. Okay? So, ganun yung mangyayari if it is secondary source. Sinite lang din nila in their own research. So, kung gagamitin mo pa rin yung idea, the citation looks like this. So, I hope you can do that when you're going to make your concept paper, especially on the part of the background of the study. Kasi the background of the study should not be coming from you. It should be coming from your sources. Okay? Magre-research kayo. Please do not forget to use parenthetical citation. Okay? Now, going back with our steps, kasi siningit ko lang yon. Pag naka-formulate na tayo ng research title, naka-select na tayo ng problem, sagutin ko yan later. Pwede na tayong magpatuloy with the other processes or stages ng research. Pwede ka nang gumawa ng papel mo. Kung questionnaire, survey, research siya, you can make your questionnaire, have it validated. Tapos sa second semester, mag-distribute na tayo ng ating questionnaire, i-collect na natin, and then syempre, presentation, analysis, and interpretation of data follows, as well as the brushing up of all the thesis format until ma-complete. Okay? Sa experimental research, palitan lang natin ito. After conceptualizing the research design and method to be used, syempre magkakandak kayo ng experiment. Pag andyan na yung result ng experiment, then dito na, presentation, analysis, and interpretation of data. Pero ngayon, let's talk about the research design and methods to be utilized before tayo mag-end kasi hanggang 11 lang tayo. Ano ito? Paano po ma'am kapag more than one ang secondary sources? What do you mean more than one? Hindi ko siya ma-picture out. What do you mean by more than one? Kasi ito yung secondary sources. Pag marami sila, talagang ilalagay mo silang lahat dito. Okay? Kasi minsan, isang research paper, nag-cite siya, ito yung original study. Pero maraming studies yung kinuhanan niya, so nagkama-kama na lang siya. Ganun pa rin ang gawin nyo. Seidenberg and McClellan study, 1989. Pwede ka pa magdagdag dyan if ever may idagdag ka pa. But as long as ilagay mo din ang secondary source as cited in. Itong study na to yung currently tinitingnan mo. Okay? Salin nyo sila lahat dyan kung marami sila. Okay. Research design. Ang research design class is your overall plan or pattern that you are going to follow in making your research paper. Okay? Again, this is the overall plan and how you are going to do your research paper, especially the data gathering na part. Okay? And the research design is our basis in determining the method that we are going to use. So ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng research method? It's the procedure. Okay? It's the procedure and how we are going to collect our data and at the same time how we are going to present, analyze, and interpret those data. Now, in research, we have two categories that are very much used. Actually, tatlo ito, pero let's not just include the other one kasi the other one is just mixed method, meaning we are going to mix the two, quali and quanti. Pero since this is an undergrad research, isa-isahin natin, wag muna tayo mag-mix. So we have the quali and the quanti. Research method or research design. Pag naisipan yung gumawa ng qualitative research class, it means this is data-free, meaning we don't have numerical data here. And the data is coming, not numerical ha, words lang lahat. Okay? The data are coming from non-probability samples. Pag sinabing non-probability samples in statistics, we are referring to sampling technique that we don't give equal chance to all members of the population to be selected and included in our study. What does it mean? Kung example, mag-interview ko, gusto na ko medtech, interviewin ako ang mga medtech sa ilahang experience. Mamili lang ko, ni gusto na ko ni siya interviewin. And then, ang gusto na ko interviewin next, katong duty ugma. So, meaning we are not giving equal chance for all the medical technologists in Gensan to be selected in the study. That's what we call non-probability samples. Okay? Therefore, in qualitative research, we don't seek generalization. Since, example, experiences cannot be generalized. History cannot be generalized also. Traditions and customs cannot be generalized to all people kasi iba-iba tayo niyan. Pero gusto lang natin malaman ano yung kanilang customs, tradition, ano yung mga experiences nila. Yun lang yung gusto ng qualitative research. Hindi tayo gumagawa ng inferences or conclusion. So what are the examples of the special kinds of qualitative research? We have the ethnographic. Merong nagkakandak ng ethnographic studies class like they are living with tribes or certain group of people. They will observe their traditions and customs or they will interview them. And ayun ang isusulat nila sa study nila. Example, you want to know the way of diagnosing ng sakit. Sa example, native people natin here sa South Cotabato, for example. Quali yun, wala kang numerical data, hindi mo pwedeng lagyan ng numbers kung paano sila mag-diagnose ng sakit or paano sila maggamot ng sakit. And then when you say phenomenological research, we are talking about experiences here. Dito magfo-fall ang experiences. Experiences like experiences niyo during pandemic, ng as pagka-student, ganon. Hindi din natin siya ma-quantify. So under siya sa qualitative method. And appreciative inquiry, example, mag-interview kayo ng people or mga students in GSD-MSFI. Ano ba ang strengths ng GSD-MSFI? Ano ba yung maganda sa school? And ano yung gusto nyo? Kung merong weaknesses, pwede nyo naman isali. Pero actually kasi appreciative inquiry ito. So this is more of the good things in an organization. And historical researches. If we are talking about history, then we can do qualitative method. Okay, qualitative research design. Ano nang ginagawa nila sa history? They interview people na merong first-hand or yung talagang knowledge nila sa nangyari sa past. That is accepted in research class. Pero again, we do not seek generalization here kasi ang experience ng isa may not be true to other people. But we can always write research about the history. Okay? So, depende yun sa tao na na-interview natin. And that becomes a historical research. Okay? So, asan yan siya under? Sa qualitative research design. Okay? Now, how about the quantitative before tayo mag-end since it's almost time? Pag quantitative kabaliktaran, we have numerical data here. And pwede natin gamitin ang lahat ng sampling techniques. Pwedeng non-probability, pwede tayong mamili sino yung ating ikakandak na experiment, for example, sino yung bibigyan natin ng questionnaire. And pwede din naman tayong mag-random sampling, meaning we will give chance to all the members of the population to be included in the study. Pwede tayo magbunot-bunot. Pag nabunot natin siya, ay appeal siya sa atong hatagan o questionnaire. So this time, we are going to make generalization unlike the qualitative research design. And ano tayo, gagawa tayo ng conclusion and inferences about a certain population, just like the study of knowledge, attitude, and practices. Example of the community sa pag-dispose ng waste. Pwede tayo mag-generalize through sa result ng ating research na may numbers, pwede tayo mag-generalize na yung mga residents ng Jensen, matataas pala ang knowledge nila sa paano itapon yung mga PPEs. So yun, generalization na yun or inferences na yun about the characteristics sa population. We can do that sa quanti, pero we cannot do that sa quali. So what are the types of research under the quanti? We have the descriptive and the experimental. So you can do experimental research. Example niyan, yung maggagawa tayo ng antimicrobial, anti-helmintic. Ayan, magkakandak tayo ng research. Hahanap tayo ng bagong stain or alternative stain. Experimental research yan. At the end of the research, we'll have numerical data. And then we can also do descriptive research through the use of survey questionnaire. So yung mga CAP na study, knowledge, attitude, and practices, under yan siya sa quantitative descriptive research design. We are aiming to describe the characteristic of the population. Kung mataas ba ang knowledge nila, ano ba ang attitude and practices nila sa isang situation or phenomenon. Okay? So I think I'm going to end here. Actually, end din ng slide. I'll be giving you a copy of this. We'll have a quiz next meeting. And we will continue with our